to us. Who is the real troubler? Let me ask you a question. Are you at a place, maybe this morning, where someone is speaking truth into your life and you are hating them for it? Is it me? Is it Pastor Eric? Is it Pastor Don? Can we be honest for a second and say that maybe, just maybe, you're just trying to find faults with what they're saying or trying to find an excuse or justification? And maybe just for a minute, can I get you to stop and think that maybe the person in your life is not the troubler? They're not the one causing you the pain. Maybe the real trouble is what they're pointing to. And maybe for the first time in your life, can we have a little bit of humility and say, maybe I'm causing a lot of my pain, and this person cares about me enough to point it out? Think about how pain works physically for a second. I don't enjoy pain, but I'm glad that I have it. Physical pain alerts us to danger. Imagine if you could turn it off for a second. Imagine you could push a button and feel no pain. So you turn your pain off, and then you're in the house and you're cooking, and you set your hand down on a hot stove and you leave it there because you don't feel anything. What happens to your hand? It burns. You destroy your hand. That pain is telling you, hey, move your hand. That pain is a good thing. The pain isn't the problem. What's causing the pain is the problem. So maybe, just maybe, the trouble in your life is there as a gift from God to point you to something that is deeply wrong inside your own heart. See, that's what Ahab failed to recognize. Verse 19. Now therefore, Elijah says, send and gather all Israel to me at Mount Carmel, and the 450 prophets of Baal and the 400 prophets of Asherah who eat at Jezebel's table. So Ahab sent to all the people of Israel and gathered the prophets together at Mount Carmel. And Elijah came near to all the people and said, how long will you go on limping between two different opinions? If the Lord is God, follow him. But if Baal is God, follow him. You know, some translations say waver, but limp is actually a really good translation because it's a really good picture of where these people are. They're not fully committed to God, yet they're not fully committed to Baal either. They haven't rejected God, but they're just kind of wavering. They're limping along between the two without being fully committed to either one. But as we said, some things require a decision. To not make a decision is in itself a decision. And that will cause you to limp along through life, and that's where many of you are. And something that can cause that, how many have said at one point or another, I'm raising my hand because I have, oh, I mean, all religions are essentially the same. I mean, if we're all believing in God, we're all going to get to the same place, right? It all kind of works out the same way. I mean, God is like a mountain. It doesn't matter what path you take as long as we both get to the top. And I don't mean to offend anyone who thinks like that, but do you realize how ridiculous that is? In order to say that every path is the same, what do you have to be able to see? Every path, the whole mountain. If I'm standing in front looking up, how can I possibly see everyone else's path to know that they're the same? And to sit back and say that you know everything about everyone's beliefs better than they do is really just arrogant and bigoted. It's one thing to hear what people say and disagree. But to not even hear it because you think you know better is just arrogance. So don't limp along intellectually because you don't have the courage to sit and think things through and tell someone, hey, I hear what you're saying, but I disagree with you. Because if you won't decide about God, then you are limping along intellectually. And if you won't decide about which God is your God, then you are limping along through life. See, what Elijah said to the people is, look, if Baal is your God, then serve him. Go all the way with him. So here's what I'll tell you. If money is your God, serve it with all your heart. Get all the money you can. If you have to cheat to get it, you cheat. If you need to steal it from someone, you steal it. Do everything you can. Sacrifice your family. Overwork yourself. You earn as much money as you can. You hoard it for yourself. Don't obey God with money. If money is your God, then serve money. Serve your God. Give up on God and just go with money. Or how about what I don't understand is a group of people that hear the messages and say, you know what, God is my God. No matter what, God is my God. But yet don't obey God in the area of money. So if you won't obey God in the area of your money, what I would say to you is, how long are you going to limp between two opinions? If God is your God, obey him and serve him. And if money is your God, then just give up on God and go make money. Or parents that say, no, God is my God. God is definitely my God. But yet you hyper-structure your children's schedule to the point that what you're telling everyone, what you really worship, is the approval of other parents, to look at your children's lives and be jealous and wish they had the family you have. And what you really are seeking is that they get into the best school to get the best job to make the most money, and you have control and power over their life. There's no priority of God in your life. That's why you have no time for student ministries and kid ministries. How long will you limp between two opinions? Who is your God? I'm not saying there's something wrong with going to the best school and getting the best job, but where's the priority? Because if God is your God, make that the priority in your children's lives. Everything else is peripheral. Say, I'm going to make sure my kid knows and walks with God, because what's more important than the college they go to is where they spend eternity. And if the approval of people is your God, then go all the way with it. Sell out. Do whatever you can to please people. Get the right kind of clothes, get the right shoes, have the right haircut so everybody likes you. And then go up to them and say, see, I look just like you. I got what you want. I have the cool car. Just accept me, like me. And then if you've done that in your life, what's going to happen is when you get past that chapter, you're going to look back and realize you spent all your time and effort and you sacrificed and compromised your soul for a group of people that you really don't even like. I'm just saying that if that's what your God is, then just go all the way. Just give up on God and go after the approval of people. If romance is your God, then go anywhere to find it. If you're not in a good marriage, just divorce. Don't obey God. Just find good. Don't try and work on it. I mean, that's ultimately what you want. Go all the way. Forget about responsibilities. You have kids, they'll get over it. Come on. If romance is your God, go find it. If your soulmate is married to your best friend, well, you better find a way to end that marriage, because that's your soulmate. You go make that happen. Because romance is more important, and romance is the ultimate and highest good. Now, I realize that this sounds ridiculous, but I'm just trying to push you to the logical end. If you're not willing to obey God, then go obey whatever your God is, but go all the way. But if Christ is the one true God, serve him with all your heart. How long will you go on limping between two opinions? Pastor Matt Chandler said it very well. He said, when you think about it, if you don't love Jesus with all your heart, church is a terrible hobby to have on the weekends. He said, you get up in the morning too early, you get dressed in clothes you normally wouldn't wear, you drive to some place that you have to park far away and walk through the heat, you come in, there's a bunch of people pressuring you to join, pressuring you to serve, making you feel guilty when you don't. Then some guy gets up on the pulpit and yells at you for 30 minutes. What a ruin of a perfectly good weekend. He says it's ultimately like going through Halloween every single week, where you get dressed up and put on your Christian face mask and go pretend to be somebody you're not. And then when people see you and they say, hey, how you doing? You go, well, praise the Lord. And you know you're lying. And you feel guilty about it. It is a terrible hobby if you don't really love Jesus. But let me tell you, if you do love Jesus, it is the best place to be. So go all the way, or don't go at all. Go big, or literally go home. If you're going to come here, go all in. Join. That's a great place to start. Join up with a body of believers. Go on a mission trip. Serve. Volunteer. Give generously to the kingdom. Give generously to the God who's given you everything. Serve him. If he is God, then go all in for God. Fall so in love with Jesus that these things become joy and not drudgery. You know what the joy is in my life? Sharing the gospel. Serving. Being on outreach, sharing my testimony. You know, last night, Travis was up here playing guitar and Rachel was up here singing, and I had the privilege of working with them in youth last year, and The first time I saw either of them on stage, Travis is over there playing like this, and she's over there singing like this, and you couldn't even hear her. And last night she had a solo and just belted it out, and Travis is over there shredding on the guitar, and I was standing in the back of the room with tears coming out of my eyes, because that is God using gifts that he has given them for his glory, and it is wonderful and beautiful, and that brings such joy to my heart. And the fact that I can stand up here and tell you that I am not worthy to stand up here, and I am not worthy to preach this to you, because all of these things apply to me, but it is through God's grace alone, is joy. And these things are only joy to me because I'm trying to follow Jesus wholeheartedly. And many of you are miserable because you're just enough into God to be miserable into the world, and you're just enough into the world to be miserable in God, and you just need to choose one way and you need to get on with it. Because you know what? I can respect someone who says there is no God and I will live like there is no God. Right? YOLO for the young people, right? Which I don't agree with, but I can at least respect them making a decision. But what I can't understand are the people that say, yeah, I believe there's a God. So I go to church on Christmas and Easter, but the rest of the time I'm going to live for me. How long will you go on limping through your life? So Elijah asked them the questions, and you see what they say in verse 21. And the people did not answer him a word. Quiet. Because when somebody calls you out on something, what do? Like this, right? He's not looking at me. I don't know what's going on. What? No, I'm good. Verse 22, then Elijah said to the people, I, even I only, am left a prophet of the Lord, but Baal's prophets are 450 men. Let 2 bulls be given to us, and let them choose 1 bull for themselves. Cut it in pieces, lay it on wood, but put no fire to it. And I will prepare the other bull and lay it on the wood and put no fire to it. And you call upon the name of your God, I will call upon the name of the Lord, and the God who answers by fire, he is God. And the people answered, it is well spoken. Then Elijah said to the prophets of Baal, choose for yourselves 1 bull and prepare it first, for you are many, and call upon the name of your God, but put no fire. And they took the bull that was given, and they prepared it and called from the name of Baal from morning until noon, saying, O Baal, answer us. But there was no voice, and no one answered. And they limped, there's that word again, limped around the altar they had made. And this is one of my favorite parts of the Bible. This is where it gets awesome. Verse 27, at noon Elijah mocked them, saying, cry loud, cry louder, for he is a god. Either he is musing, which means daydreaming. So he's checking his Facebook status on his cell phone, seeing how many likes he got on his last photo.